Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Well, about 2 months after it closed for good, contractors are hard at work cleaning up the site of the former homeless camp known as Camp Hope.
KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy explains what still has to be done before it takes its final form.
It's the most activity these plots have seen in months as KREM environmental crews are clearing out and cleaning up the former encampment. Since the last camper moved out in early June, this washed-out property along I-90 has been quiet. But quiet made way for progress this week.
It's definitely happening.
Angina Silvers lived here for decades.
It's getting cleaned up.
Her and her neighbors are glad to see the slate of what was Camp Hope wiped clean.
It looked like they had taken down a lot of trees. That part I didn't like, but I think they have to do a massive cleanup of the area.
Ryan Overton with WashDOT says they've hired KREM environmental crews to clear things up above and below the surface.
Take about the first 6 to 12 inches of soil off the top of the surface. They're working in quadrants. Those quadrants will then get tested.
Soil tests will show if the ground was contaminated during its time as Camp Hope. If so, that dirt can be taken to a disposal site.
It was so saturated, it was really a mess.
That work should be completed by month's end, setting up the site to become part of a new freeway system in 2025.
That would be kind of roughly where one of the flyovers is to access the North Spokane corridor.
Until then, neighbors like Silver are just glad to see a mostly empty lot and the progress it stands for.
That needed to be done, and it looks like people are going to many lengths to get it done.
Overton says, barring any contamination, we could see these lots reseeded with grass by the fall. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Just moments ago, we learned more about a shooting that happened this morning in South Spokane that sent a local couple to the hospital with serious injuries.
According to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, an argument escalated between 22-year-old Charlie Birkland and his mother and stepfather. That's when police say Birkland shot them both and then fled the scene in a vehicle. Deputies later found him in the parking lot of a nearby fire station. He has now been charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder. Both victims are in serious but stable condition.
Also, just into our newsroom, we are tracking a developing story out of Brown's Edition. Within the last hour, we have learned that fire officials are now investigating a string of brush fires along Coeur d'Alene Street.
According to fire officials, a total of 3 fires started about 1 o'clock this afternoon. Right now, it is unclear if any of them may be related as crews continue to investigate. 2 Spokane City Council members are asking county commissioners to delay voting on a measure that would fund a new jail facility. In an open letter, City Council President Lori Kinnear and Council member Zach Zapone asked for the 2 agencies to work together to better plan how that money would be spent before the measure goes to voters.
Last December, commissioners approved a ballot measure for a sales tax increase in the upcoming November general election. If approved, residents would see a 0.2% sales tax increase countywide. If approved, it would bring in an estimated $1.7 billion for public safety over the next 30 years.
Several people over on the west side of Washington were woken up by an earthquake early this morning. It was in East King County.
The 3.8 magnitude quake was recorded northeast of Falls City just after 3 o'clock this morning. The quake even woke up some residents up around the Puget Sound.
I heard like what I thought was a truck that had started rumbling, and then my bed started to shake.
So the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network says aftershocks did follow this earthquake, but they say there's no evidence that this means the big one is imminent.
Now to a bit of good news on the fire front. The Parkway fire burning near Camelin Park in Post Falls has been 100% contained. Now this doesn't mean the fire is out, but crews have stopped any spread, they say. It started last Friday and has so far burned about 80 acres. Post Falls police say the large fire was started by a campfire that was not properly put out, and they are investigating this as a criminal case.
Tracking yet another wildfire near Hayden Lake at this hour, the Ridge Creek fire is still 0% contained and is still growing. Right now, there are no changes in evacuations, so the green area on that map right there is under level 1 get ready evacuations right now. In the last 24 hours, we've learned the fire has grown to more than 1,200 acres. Close to 100 firefighters continue to battle this blaze. Taking a break from headlines, though, let's take a look at the forecast now with our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
And Jeremy, how's the second half of our week shaping up right now?
Ooh, much sunnier, much drier, and much warmer by the weekend. Right now, we're bracing for another cold front moving through. The front itself kind of weak, but it's kind of the presence of that in moisture that gives me a little bit of hope that we get some rain. Right now, our dew point sits at 51, still slightly humid, not near the mugginess we saw yesterday, but a dew point of 51 ahead of an incoming front tells me we might squeeze something out of this. The presence of that front and the location of the storm itself, moving through southern British Columbia and then the front draping across the northwest, says that we are likely going to get some breezy wind and potentially a little bit of rain. The front and storm are very weak. I cannot emphasize that enough. So when we're talking wind, it's not much. When we're talking rain, it's not much. Unfortunately, that's just the way it looks, or fortunately, when it comes to the wind. You can see the rain kind of developing early in the morning, moves through about 10 a.m. here in Spokane, moves out by the afternoon, and we're done. Then it kind of shifts to a breezy Wednesday evening and a breezy Thursday, and I'm thinking wind gusts near 20 to 30 miles per hour, so nothing too crazy, but a little more wind than we've seen recently. The good news is temperatures are a little cooler, and we're just slightly wetter than we have been, so that kind of lowers fire danger as wind returns. We've traded one for the other, but wind still means increased fire danger, so we just got to be careful the next couple of days.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. The decision by the University of Washington to leave the Pac-12 will have impacts that go well beyond the one university. Our Verify team has received a lot of questions about what the move means for Washington State, the Apple Cup, and even taxpayers. One viewer asked if there was any attempt by the state to keep UW and WSU together. Our Verify team tracked down a bill that would have done just that and the lawmaker behind it.
And so the objective of the bill was to, one, have WSU and UW stay together, that if they move conferences, that they go together. And secondly, that they would have to have legislative approval.
Coming up tonight on KREM 2 News at 6, our Verify team takes a closer look at what happened to the bill, and you might be surprised to hear who the senator says was the major group opposed.